Hello and welcome to PMCLounge.com. Today we are talking about the difference between PMBOK 6 and PMBOK 5, specifically from the project management process groups and knowledge areas mapping perspective. So we have a mapping, as you can see on the screen right now, towards your right, a mapping that you might be aware of, that you have in the PMBOK guide. A lot of people incorrectly feel and think that you need to learn this mapping to be able to clear your PMP exam, which is of course incorrect. We have made a video on that earlier as well. I'll share the link to that video in the description. Now, this mapping has changed from PMBOK 5 to PMBOK 6. There were 47 processes in PMBOK 5. With PMBOK 6, we have 49 processes. So we have an addition of 2 processes, 3 to be exact, and 1 has been removed. But then there have been certain renames as well. Some of the processes have been renamed. Some of uh, the knowledge areas, right? Not the process group. Some of the knowledge areas have also been renamed. Some of the processes have been renamed. So it is important to take a side by side comparison look at both the process group and knowledge area mapping from PMBOK 5 and PMBOK 6. That way, with this side by side comparison, you will be able to make out what the difference is. And if you have studied for your PMP exam from the PMBOK 5 days, you will definitely be able to make out what more you need to study, right? This is also going to give you a larger picture of what has changed, and at the same time it will also give you a deeper look. We will get into the minor details of how some of the processes have renamed. So on each slide we will discuss one knowledge area. Let's get started with the first knowledge area, which is integration management. So as you can see in the integration management knowledge area in the PMBOK 5 and PMBOK 6, this is integration management knowledge area. In the both editions of the PMBOK, what has changed? So these are your process groups, the 5 process groups, and the knowledge area, of course, is integration management, like I mentioned earlier. So let's talk about the processes now. All the processes remain the same. As you can see, the one which is highlighted in red is an additional process in PMBOK 6, which is manage project knowledge, and this comes under the executing process group. So there is an addition of one process here in the integration management knowledge area, which is, this process is called manage project knowledge. This is something new with PMBOK edition 6. Everything else, all the other processes, as you can see on the slide, remain the same. So that's how we are going to discuss all the 10 the knowledge areas, all 10 knowledge areas from PMBOK 5 and PMBOK 6. So do watch this video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's move on to the next knowledge area. So the second knowledge area is scope management knowledge area. And under this, if you can see, nothing really has changed from PMBOK 5 to PMBOK 6. All these processes, plan scope management, collect requirements, define scope, create WBS, are under planning process group, and under monitoring and controlling process group, we have validate scope and control scope. Everything remains as it is. Everything remains the same in PMBOK 6. So far we have discussed 2 knowledge areas, integration management and scope management, and there is only one change in the integration management knowledge area where one process was added. Let's move on. Now here's the rename in the knowledge area itself. Schedule management. This is something which was known as time management in PMBOK 5. So this is now known as schedule management in PMBOK 6. So this is the first change in this knowledge area. As far as processes are concerned, as you can see, PMBOK 5 processes and PMBOK 6 processes, one process is actually removed from PMBOK 5 to PMBOK 6. So estimate activity resources, this process is no longer a part of schedule management knowledge area in PMBOK 6. Actually, this process has moved to another knowledge area, which we will cover later in this video. So that is the only change. All other processes, as you can see, remain as it is from PMBOK 5 to PMBOK 6 in the schedule management knowledge area. The name, of course, has changed from time management to schedule management. Let's move on. All right, the next one is cost management. Pretty simple. Everything remains as it is. Everything remains the same. No changes, no renaming of the processes, no additional processes. Everything is the same from PMBOK 5 to PMBOK 6. Now, quality management. So there's certain changes here, right? Just one to be precise. In PMBOK 5, we had three processes. It's the same for PMBOK 6 as well. The one change that you see here is a change of name in one of the processes. So perform quality assurance is now known as manage quality in PMBOK 6. I hope you can see that. We have highlighted it in red, and I'm just making use of my mouse and creating certain pathetic drawings here. So excuse me for that. So manage quality under executing is the process, was earlier known as perform quality assurance. It is now known as manage quality. Let's move on. Resource management. So earlier in PMBOK 5, this was known as human resource management, HR management in PMBOK 5, but now it is known as just resource management. So we have moved away from human resources to all the possible resources that a project needs. So that's the change as far as this knowledge area is concerned. Then again, there are changes to the naming of all the processes, and there are additions to certain processes as well. So plan human resource management is now known as just plan resource management. Do you remember estimate activity resources from the schedule management or the time management knowledge area? That has moved to this knowledge area from the schedule management knowledge area. So this is the move. This is an addition here. Acquire project team is now known as acquired resources. Develop project team is known as develop team. Manage project team is known as manage team. And there was no control resources previously, but now we have a new process here which is known as control resources. So this is an addition as well. So we have got two new processes here. The other processes have gone through a name change. The knowledge area itself has gone through a name change. So that's the difference between PMBOK 5 and PMBOK 6, as you can clearly see under the resource management knowledge area. All right, communications management. So plan communication in PMBOK 5, we had three processes. In PMBOK 6, again, we have three processes. Just the exception is the control communications process is now known as monitoring monitor communications, not monitoring. So monitor communications is the new name for control communications process. Everything else remains the same. Plan communication management remains the same. Manage communications remains the same. So that's where we are in terms of communications management knowledge area. So the next is risk management, and as you can see, when it comes to risk management, the PMBOK 5, all the planning processes remain the same between PMBOK 5 and PMBOK 6, but there's a change in as an addition of one process which is known as implement risk responses in PMBOK 6. There was no implement risk responses process here in PMBOK 5. So basically the idea is whatever risk responses that are being planned, if the risk materializes, we implement them under executing process group as part of the implement risk responses process, right? So planned risk responses was always here, it remains here as it is, but if a risk materializes, it will be the risk response will be implemented in the implement risk responses process. Again, there's a name change. The controlled risks, this process is now known as monitor risks in PMBOK 6. So that's the change when it comes to risk management. Moving on to procurement management. So the change that has happened in procurement management from PMBOK 5 and PMBOK 6 is that one of the processes, which was known as closed procurements, is no longer applicable in PMBOK 6. So this process has been removed. So that means there is only one process in closing process group as a whole, which is the close project phase, a close project or phase. That's the only process in closing process group in the entire mapping. So everything else remains the same from PMBOK 5 to PMBOK 6. As you can see, the planned procurement management, conduct procurements, control procurements, all of them remain the same. All three processes are here. Just one process has been removed. Stakeholder management. Let's talk about PMBOK 5 and PMBOK 6. We have certain changes. Plan stakeholder management is now known as plan stakeholder engagement, and control stakeholder engagement is known as monitor stakeholder engagement. So that's the change on the stakeholder management side of things, which of course is the last knowledge area in the PGK mapping. So that's pretty much all that we had in this video. Hope you were able to distinguish between the changes that have been done between PMBOK 5 and PMBOK 6. So that's all that we had in this video. Do hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Hit the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video. A lot of people ask what books they should buy. So pmclounge.com/PMP preparation resources, the link that you can see on the screen. We have listed the books that we think should be there on your study table to clear the PMP exam. Don't forget to check out the website pmclounge.com, your number one free resource for PMP and other project management certifications, as well as project management industry information. Thank you.